Hello.
Hello. We are turning two into one.
I am Danielle.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. Yeah. She's Danielle. And I am Matthew Higginbotham. All right. I'm Stephen.
I am Danielle.
Yes. And we are turning two into one. First off, yesterday we had such a wonderful time with our friends, the Woodies, and our couples on the couch.
That was on Saturday.
That was on Saturday. Oh, yeah, that was on Saturday.
This will
that was
be
Saturday.
broadcast on Wednesday.
Yeah. So, yes, I'm sorry, not yesterday, but it's just moving so fast. However, we had a fantabulous, if that is a word, time. They are so full of wisdom, and we were so excited to get them, to lock them into that time, that space where they could share, not just with you guys, but share with us, because we grow also. And so that's really one of the motivations that we have behind what it is we do, because it allows us to grow too. And when you're confronted with this new information, then you kind of got to go back and you kind of got to figure something out, and you got to do some things differently. Coffee Woody talked about the resources, right? And having those resources. And then the Bible tells us to be a doer of the word. And that's something that she input and talked about, is being a doer of the word. Not just a hearer, but a doer also. And sometimes we have a difficult time doing that. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And the topic of this is going to be hard conversations. And we won't be before you long. We will share some things that we've had to go through and deal with, but also encourage you so that maybe you will have the courage to have those hard conversations.
So the hard conversations that we're going to talk about, and just to give you some examples of what these hard conversations are. We had a conference some years ago, and it was called The Elephant in the Room.
Yes.
Just there are certain things that as married couples, or even as people that date, there are just some things that we shy away from. For instance, it could be you desire that your mate lose a little weight.
Yeah.
That could be a hard conversation. The way that your mate speaks to you.
Yep, that could be a hard conversation.
Hard conversation.
Yeah, be a hard conversation.
It could be the way that the rug is centered in the bathroom on the floor.
Wow, you want to bring that up?
Doesn't sound like a hard conversation.
Yeah. Or how about how the toilet paper roll is?
Yeah, could be a hard conversation. Or you could just flip it around yourself and go on with your life. But there are some hard conversations that we find ourselves having to have, or sometimes we just kind of neglect them and kind of wish that they would go away, and then it becomes this huge elephant in the room. Yeah. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and how to deal with those hard conversations.
Yeah. I guess the first thing, to kind of frame this, is to think that you should have the right to have those hard conversations, right? When you're at work and you do something incorrect, your boss comes to you and says, hey, look, that wasn't the way to do it. This was the way to do it. This is the way the company says to do it. This is the way it should be done, X, Y, and Z, da-da-da-da-da. Your response usually is, I Captain, it's, whatever. So you do, basically, you follow what their directive is. You go ahead on and you say, all right, well, cool. All right, I understand you, da-da-da-da-da. And this is the way it's done here at this business, right? So it's not even a matter of you necessarily agreeing, but understanding that if I'm going to operate in this space, this is the conduct I must have, and this is what I must do, right? But here, that happens because of the relationship between you and the boss, right? So that the boss is here and you're here, and now, but when we're married, that space is not there as it relates to the order, right? So then you guys are here trying to have difficult conversations, and so then what happens is there's this butting of heads, and who are you to tell me X, Y, and Z? You on the same level I'm on, and your mama used to do X, Y, and Z. Don't talk about my mama. Don't talk about my mama. So, but we need to have that space. We need to have that ability, because how else are you going to get better? And here, this person's sole desire is to help you get better. That's what they're there for. If you're not trying to help your spouse get better, why are you there? You know what I'm saying? If we ain't trying to move to the next level and take this thing over, why are you there?
And I think a lot of times, especially when we're dating, a lot of things we just overlook because we're so infatuated in the moment of being in the relationship.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is what you bring from your experiences that you had prior to this relationship. So maybe this is the way that you guys talk at home. Yeah. And then you come into a relationship with another person and you're looking at them like, well, this is how we do it. Yeah. And this is how I do it. And so there needs to be those types of conversations.
Also.
Because especially if your plan is to spend the rest of your life with this person. And so if it feels disrespectful to me, even if it doesn't feel disrespectful to him, then it's still disrespect. It still has to be dealt with. And so we have to start off in the baseline with, this is how I prefer to be communicated with.
Yeah.
And so we have to have these tough conversations, and it has to be out of the heat of the moment.
Yeah. It's difficult to do something in the heat of the moment. I always tell couples that if there's some issues that are taking place and you need to discuss them, don't discuss them in the heat of the moment. Right. Maybe even step away and do it a day after, the next day after, especially if it's not something that is life or death or that we have to make an instant decision on. And most things we don't have to make an instant decision on. We can have some time to step away from it and meditate on it and this and that. But when we get heated, what happens is that we're speaking out of emotion and not out of logic. Right. And when you take a step back and get rid of some of that emotion and kill some of that emotion, you can now start thinking about, okay, wait a minute. He really does have my best interest at heart. She really does love me. She really does want this to work. She really does want success. He really does want this. We might be misunderstanding each other, but we are still on the same team. Yeah. And I think that's important when we need to have those hard conversations, understand that, we are on the same team and we do desire everyone's best interest. We have your best interest at heart.
And those hard conversations are also better when you are communicating on a regular.
Yes.
So it's very important, that you are regularly having just everyday conversations. Yeah. So that when a hard conversation comes up, it's not like, okay, now I don't know how to deal with this because we normally don't talk. So especially in this 2020 era where everybody thinks that everybody that's online is my friend, and then the person that's laying next to you giving the media or social media more attention than the person or the people that are in your house, then your communication can be off. And so when those hard communication times are present, then you have a hard time actually having those conversations. So regular conversations, normal, regular, everyday conversations are important, and background information.
And having that, so why don't we do this? Because it looks like this conversation is probably going to be maybe a couple of different videos, and so, but here, let's give them some takeaways from this one. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So the first thing is that you have to have that space, to be able to say what you need to say, not what you want to say. Those are different, but what you need to say. Right. And how you know the difference is that when you draw some of that emotion out of it, then you begin to get down to what you need to say. Right. You need to tell him, hey, look, baby, your behavior is alienating the family. Right. You might want to read him up and down, but you might need to tell him X, Y, and Z. All right. So you need the space to be able to do that. Absolutely. So that's one. Right. The space. The second thing, and I think we're going to get into this on our next thing, is how to lay those conversations out in the framework of being friends. You see, when your friends have to tell you something difficult, they usually don't have a hard time doing it. Right. But here, you laying next to this person,
relationship.
Yeah, right. and this is a relationship here that should be closer than just friendship. Yes, it should include friendship, no question. But that's how you generate some of those conversations, is through that friendship. Right. So we'll talk about that, but they need to have the space, and you need to understand that they're coming from the position of wanting the best for you, not wanting to hurt you, not wanting to damage you. Right. Is that good?
Absolutely.
Is that good?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is that okay?
All right.
All right. So we'll get back on and we'll put something else out, and we'll talk further about how to move that conversation forward. So, but remember, you have to have that space. And so you have to get rid of some of those emotions and feeling like you're being judged and he or she is pointing a finger at you, and hear the content of the message.
Absolutely.
All right? But that can only take place inside of that space where they feel safe.
Absolutely.
To have that conversation with you. All right. As always, remember to never give up.
Never give in.
And never let go.